All right, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive in to the TA. All right, guys, pretty crazy stuff went on today. Pretty crazy stuff. What is that I see? A new all-time high at SPY and QQIC? Is that what we got here? Okay. All right, government shutdown. Market's going to crash? Question mark. That's going to be the case here, guys. Psych, they pulled the rug in the opposite direction. All right, we're back at new highs. We're going higher. The weekly candle looks like it's going to expand into end of week. We only have 2 more sessions. Expect further upside. Doesn't mean it's going to be the case, but that is the most probable scenario here. Okay, we just pushed up the new highs here today on SPY and QQ after our little quote-unquote flash crash over here that had everybody all bearish again every single time. But now we're back in new highs. And again, guys, are they really going to sell this thing if Nvidia just broke out the new all-time highs? Probably not. They're probably not going to do so. All right, we're going to go over the indices, go over the Mag 7 stocks, and I got some juicy ones at the end of the video for you. And guys, things shaped up quite freaking nicely over the past few sessions. All right, I'm telling you, I got some juicy ones going into the end of the week just for you, okay? And I got one tomorrow that I'm going to pound the table on throughout this video so you guys can make your money, okay? I have been pounding the table on this name for the past few sessions, all right? But I'll do it some more in this video, okay? All right, let's dive into it, guys. Starting off with QQQ. Come down to the hourly. It tells a very clear story here, okay? Break and retest. So if you got this, descending, a broadening wedge over here, guess what? Broke out, retested. Oh, it's looking so ugly. Oh my God, we're going to fall. Nope. They bought you right back up. And now we're at new all-time highs. Probably not going to be, pulling back in the short term just because of what I mentioned over here where, I think they're going to expand this weekly candlestick. Normally, when you push up to the high and you get over it, you normally, let me just see, right over here, you push past it, you get a decent amount past it. All right, over here, you're pushing past that. Here you're pushing past this wick, you get a decent amount past it. So, I'm thinking that it's probably going to be the case over here. But regardless, if you, do consolidate for, into end of week, maybe you go like that, like it's very likely still going to lead to further upside. So that's that. I still want to say government shutdown. Okay. Was it off of this day? Or was it off of this? We're going to say that it's... I forgot which one I went off of when I back tested, okay? But we're going to say today's high, okay? Government is currently shut down. By the end of the shutdown, we're very likely going to be higher than this high. I know, it's crazy, okay? It's crazy. It's either this one or this one. I forgot which way I back tested. If it was the day after or the day before. I'm not sure, okay? Either way, we're just going to say this high right here that we currently have today of, drum roll please, 603.79. Whenever the government comes back on, okay? Whenever the government shutdown, whenever funding comes back into the mix, okay? We are expecting to be higher than this price. What does that tell us? Okay, that stat right there tells us that, holy sweet baby Jesus, guys, we might not really get all that much of a dip. Let's just say Donald Trump does another 35-day pause, okay? Or another 35-day shutdown, just like back in 2018. I think it was 35 days. Let's just say another 30-day shutdown. Guys, that means all of October, like, we're not getting a pullback. Like, we might get a pullback, but it's going to be from higher prices here. And when it does, it's not going to be anything crazy. We're probably just going to do something like that if it happens. So I'm just putting 2 and 2 together and saying, hey, all right, we might not be spending too much. If you get below this price, clear as day by end of shutdown, all right, expect it to be bought above the price. Clear as day, it's going to help us with a roadmap here. All right. So I just want to start the video off with that. On the upside, we have today's high, 603.79. Above there, 605. Above there, 608, 610. On the downside, 602.87, 599.90, 596.10, and we're just going to leave it at that. You take that out, you have risk of coming back down here. But again, if we see that in the short term, if we somehow see that, like, we're buying this, okay? Maybe it even comes down here, but it's going to get back up here in the short term. All right, so there's that. That's QQQ. SPY has a very similar look to you as well. On the upside, we have 66937. Same thing over here, SPY. Same thing we just talked about on QQ. The stat is actually derived from SPY. So technically, this is the one we should be focused on. 66937. All right, end of shutdown. Expect to be higher than that price. On the upside, 66937. 670 sitting right above. We're probably going to go there in the short term. The big psych level above there, 672, 675. On the downside, 667.34, 665.28, and the gap that has been holding 2 days in a row there. And, you know, technically today we got pretty close down. But, you know, the fact that we got this candlestick coming into the day over here, SPY and QQ, hammer candlestick on QQ, wide body bullish bar over here on SPY, you know, kind of told us where the market wanted to go. They had the chance to have a big old fat gap down. They didn't. They didn't have all that big of a gap down. Quickly, you got bought up. All right. So, yeah, you know, it was pretty obvious what was going on from early on the day over here. Okay. But, yeah, guys, just watch 662.37. As long as we're above there, you know, don't worry about these downside levels. Don't. If you break under there, you're probably going to break underneath the 21 EMA, but that's the next stop. Okay. And that's what we got. DIA, IWM, not looking all too shabby. We're just going to take off that trend line right there, guys. It looks like this thing wants to head back up to highs. All right, so there you go. All right, and then coming over to VIX, guys. Oh, what happens at other VIX crush, just like we got the other day, okay? Underneath 1582, expect this to take out this low right over here. Okay, underneath 1529, we are open to it coming down to 1412. And, you know, with what I just mentioned at the very beginning of this video, I'm honestly open to VIX coming all the way back down to the lows before spiking. I am. MAGS ETF here, guys. It looks like it wants to push up to new highs. It hasn't done it like SPY and QQ as of today. Has not done it. It looks like it's going to come in the short term. If we see this, just keep building out this range here. Okay, like we know what's likely going to happen in the end. I go like this range. Eventually it breaks up. Okay, nothing to be bearish about. People want to get bearish. I don't care. All right. Get bearish off your headlines. Do it. Okay. But like I showed you the data. All right. I showed you what has happened the other times when that has happened. Going all the way back to, what was that? Like 1997, 1996. Crazy people out there. It's okay. I understand. I do. People are just, some people are crazy. Don't let them get under your skin, guys. All right. It's the internet. There are people out there. On the upside, Amazon 221.83. We're just going to actually take that level and we're going to switch it up to 222.60. Above there, that's the 9 EMA. Get above there, 226.22 and then 230. All right, that's this other spot up there, 229-ish. Okay, and downside, 219.05. There you go. Meta, which, you know, I'm still going to say, I'm going to point out, you know, a few other tickers here in this video that I think are, yeah, as far as the Mag 7 stocks go, that I think are no-brainer, way better than this guy over here, okay? Like, this thing eventually is going back up to all-time highs. I hope they don't bring it all the way up there, you know, with a gap. But I'll tell you, at some point, it goes back up. Right now, you know, the waters are a little muddy over here, okay? We can't really see them too well. Meta over here, guys. Right at the weekly 21 EMA, I still say leave Meta alone for the time being. It's not really giving you what you want to see. Okay, as someone who wants to trade momentum, guess what? This thing got momentum going in the wrong direction there, and you're going to need to see structure build up at that point for any upside over there. Okay, so yeah, you know, personally, I'm not going to be doing anything with Meta anytime soon. I still think, yeah, October or November. Big move up to all-time highs. I think probably still October, but I think we'll get a chance to see this thing shape up a little bit better for us. But it's right on the weekly 21. GOOG, we talked about in yesterday's video. If we see a second day of dancing around this 21 EMA, then it's very likely going to give it a pop. All right, and you know, if you look back, you could see, yeah, you dance around there 2 days in a row, 1, 2, sometimes it's a 3, and then you get a pop. All right, and we could just go back 1, 2, you started getting a pop. We'll find some more. 1, 2, test. And guess what? Give it a pop. 1, 2, give it a pop. 1, 2, 3, give it a pop. All right, we can keep going. All right, but you'll see what I'm saying. Okay, if you're holding the 21, if you're continuously getting bullish reactions above it, you're probably going to get that pop, and it's either going to be tomorrow or we have another day around here, and then we get a pop into end of week. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. This doesn't have to be how this plays out, but yeah, this is why I would not be bearish on this name over here. I see no reason to be bearish on this name. You're short end for the reversion to the mean. That's what I pointed out when we were over here. I didn't see the point. It's not something just because it's super extended, all right, does not mean it has to pull back harder than the rest. It does not. It has more strength than the rest. Apple, guys, swept the high today. But yeah, you see how the 4 hour is shaping up here. I think this thing is probably going to go in the short term. I think we might go into end of week here. This very narrow candlestick we got going on. The range on it's really not all that much. We've been consolidating all week so far. I know it's only Wednesday. We got 2 more sessions. We'll see if they give you a pop into end of week. I really personally just like how this 4 hour is coming along here, and I have a feeling they're about to break this thing up. Maybe we get a little tighter into here. All right, and see some of that action. Okay. So that's Apple. Microsoft starting to get a pop above 519.30 today, guys. Got the daily close above there. I personally think we're going to see this kind of action right here. You're going to pull back, and it's going to do what Microsoft does, okay? It grinds. Sometimes it gets these vertical moves, but, from what we got here, we don't have like recent history of this. We got to go way back, and I just know, Microsoft doesn't like making it easy there. It's a slow mover, but it does get moves, and it makes me think it's going to do this thing where it pushes up to it, and it pulls back, and then it goes. All right, so I'm not sure if it's going to be moving just yet into end of week, but if the market goes up, it probably will. But what I just talked about, there's definitely the chance there. And if I didn't know the market was likely going to be pushing higher into next week, I'd say then that's my probable scenario here. But I will also say this weekly chart, it looks like, this thing wants to break above here. Okay. 530 plus incoming above 519.30 of 522.82, 526.10, 532.70. Tesla, my 2 favorites right here. 2 favorites. All right. Tesla right here is going to all-time highs. I don't know if that happens this week, but it's kind of showing its hand here that, it wanted to go. Now, I personally don't think this getting oversold or overbought there is going to matter. I don't think it's going to keep up with this action here. I don't think we're going to get that. If it happens, it happens. I can't really do anything about it. But I personally think, this thing is so close to all-time highs now that, honestly, it can happen into end of week. And if it doesn't happen this week, I'm looking for that next week. And next 1 to 2 weeks, I'm telling you, 70-point move above last all-time high. That's what you got. Even if it was a bull trap there, you still got it. Okay, so we'll see if we get some similar action here. That's Tesla. Nvidia, the big boy himself. Okay, inverse head and shoulders pattern breakout. Retest today. It's shaping up quite nicely. I don't like that it's not, it's taking its dear sweet time. I would prefer for this thing just to get moving and grooving. But, at the end of the day, if it, doesn't get, let's look at it this way. This thing could pop up. I'm thinking maybe 195 we get this week. But I'm thinking 190 is for sure coming this week. I'm not sure how much higher we're going to get over there. I'd like, to push straight up to 200, but I just know that, it doesn't have to push straight up to 200. It could push up a little bit to what I'm talking about, give a little pullback there, and then push up to 200. I think next 1 to 2 weeks we get $200 though. That's what I'm getting at. All right. Short-term price action. Okay. It can grind. Okay. But there's also the chance it does hit the jets into end of week. There is the chance. We have seen these big breakouts here. They have, some of them have been quite violent that first week. So let's just go back and see how this thing trades. Let's go back and see how this thing trades. All right. Come over here. How did this thing go? Consolidated Wednesday. Can we get a huge ass gap over here at 10%? I'm kidding, guys. That's earnings, okay? It's probably not going to go down like that one. This one was not earnings over here. And actually on Monday, you just push straight up. So, you know, I'm just looking back. Both of these, you got it going off of a catalyst over here and earlier in the week. I'm not sure if it's going to be like that. Okay, I'm really not. But I do think this thing is set up to move higher in the short term here. I really like how we're setting up. Yeah, right over there. Give me that thing right there. Okay. You had this straight vertical move this morning here. It's just consolidating. Either it goes like this, all right, or it's just going to go from there. I don't know if it gets that little pullback there, but you know, the fact that we push straight up here this morning, like right to that high, tells us this thing wants to get another leg here. And you know, I know it's not doing here, but yeah, worst case scenario, it does have another pullback tomorrow. All right, and then probably still goes into end of week with a sick move. All right, now guys, I got some tickers we're going to talk about. We're going to try and run through these quick because I got quite a few, but I'm going to try and put the best ones in the first. Okay, right, you know, up front here for you guys. Okay. First of all, I want to touch on this. AES, guys, congrats if you did end up taking this. I personally did not. The thing went all in one go. It didn't take no prisoners, guys. It straight up vertical move overnight. All right. But yeah, congratulations. I know 1121 calls. They did end up popping 200% today. So congrats if anybody did end up loading up right when it was consolidated at the top of that flag. There's that. And then RR, this is my little share play I mentioned the other day. I personally like this one, and I think, you know, people can load shares on it. Just literally sit on your hands and wait. I think this is the theme that if Tesla's going to be going and doing what I think they're about to start, something's going to hype that stock. I think it might be robotics, and I know SCRV and RR, they're going to be moving. RR is the one with clear as day with the better chart, so this is the one that I picked up. But yeah, I like it. I pointed out off the 21 EMA these past few sessions, and it is starting to get its move, guys. So I think this is probably going to, in the short term, get back above 571. Doesn't have to do it this week, all right? But I'm looking forward to do it over the coming weeks, and it's probably going to start another vertical move, okay? We'll see how high this guy wants to go, but I think A+ is incoming. All right? Now, US. Back at highs, guys. Probably going to be getting this breakout move in the short term, and I don't know how big the move is going to be, but this looks pretty juicy to me. You're breaking up from this range, and it looks like it wants to break 1503 this week. I imagine this thing could go straight to 20 bucks. All right, that's QS. UNH. All right, and again, I'm putting the juiciest ones right at the front for you guys, okay? I got one that I'm going to pound the table on for tomorrow. I think we get a big move on it tomorrow. All right. UNH, guys, looks like it's getting ready to break out of this. It is. Okay, we got this little pennant action going on here on the break above 354.50. Probably going straight up to 362.31. Above there, 376.84, and then 393.11. All right, but I think this is right around the corner. Maybe even end of week, it takes out 354.50 and gets a big move over 362.30. Okay, but I'm watching. Maybe it doesn't happen at the end of week. Maybe it does. I think it might. And if not this week, then I think next week. But yeah, this consolidation I think is coming to an end. UNH. INTC, guys, they're loading the boat on the, we got 1017 and 1121.40C. They are active today. They've been active over the past couple sessions over here. They're actually active right at the top over there, but they pulled you back. But yeah, I think this weekly candle is probably going to expand, take out last week's high. I think we take out 37.16. We'll see if we get 40 this week, honestly. I know, pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, with the move that just happened today, the last time you had a big move like that after you pulled back after you were flying high, okay, you had another big day right after. That's an 8% move, okay? Actually, I think it's just about 9%, okay? Imagine if we get some crazy shit like that. Pardon my French, okay? But, you know, we could get all the way there in one day. One day, all right? 39 bucks. But yeah, INTC, I like it. CRWV, guys, I think this thing might go tomorrow, all right? I like how the 4 hour and 1 hour are setting up over here. You had your big move up. All right. It's not participating in the market's big move up today. But I do like how the smaller time frames are setting up here. And I think they're probably going to push it. I'll say it again. It makes sense for this weekly candle to expand above this high. All right. Just if you look back, every single time you've taken out a previous, you know, high of the week, you go about 10% at least. All right. That's just except for this guy over here. But, you know, we're clearly not in that area, okay? But even if it's going to be something like that, like that's 7%, okay? We have not gone that. We've gone a couple percent there, 1.6%, All right, so I think it's very possible, very probable, I'm going to say, that we end up taking out 150 by end of week. All right. But yeah, I like how the smaller time frames are setting up over there. It's getting tight, and looks like it's going to snap. This is it, guys. This is it. PLTR. All right. This is the thing that I think into end of week. We're looking for a 3 to 4% day on the breakup of 185.75. The fact that you got up there today tells me you're probably about to have this move happen tomorrow. All right. Last two moves over here. Okay. First session, 4%. Over here, first session, 3.5%. There's two ways to trade this. I don't know which one's going to happen. I don't know if you get a gap up. It looks like you're going to get a gap up, but I'm not sure. So I personally, you know, I mean, I'm already loaded on this, but I did end up putting on weeklies today, just in case we do end up getting that gap up there. And yeah, we're seeing this move into end of week. But the fact that you're so close to this, let's just take off everything over there. Okay, the fact that we're so close to all-time highs, the second you take out this high, which we already did, okay, but I want to see you firmly get above. I want to see you get above 187. Okay, we'll call it 187. At that point, you're probably just going straight up to 190. I think 191 to 194 is going to hit immediately on this. If we do just take 3%, all right, this was 3.5%, but we'll just take 3%. All right, that's bringing you 191. Okay, if you take the 4%, the upper end of our, you know, target range there on the daily candle, all right, 193. So yeah, I think it's coming in the short term here. I think that's where we're shaping up here. I think the higher time frame, the weekly suggests that's going to be the case, all the way down to over here on the 4 hour. Maybe you consolidate here for another session, or maybe you pull back. If you pull back over here 182.5 and then push through 185.75, I think the thing's gonna hit the jets there. Okay. But yeah, PLTR, this is my no-brainer trade over here. I hope you guys are having a great time. I really do. You know, the market, I know everybody wants to get bearish and the market's scary. I understand it's uncertain, scary when it's uncertain, when everyone, you know, can't agree on which way the market's going. It gets scary. I understand, but I have your best interest here on this channel. And I hope you guys at this point in time, if you have been here at least even a couple weeks with me, I hope you see that, okay? I have no intention and no incentive to stir anybody in the wrong direction. Some things just aren't going to play out. You know, Amazon over here, I can't say anything about it. The thing, it was consolidating over here. It's so close to all-time highs and then just goes the complete opposite direction as other names are flying. But, you know, honestly, most of the names we do end up calling out here, they do end up getting their moves, okay? So, yeah, you know, I hope you guys are having a good time. I really do. And please remember to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it, okay? Hive, we talked about it when it pulled into the 21. We talked about on this day. We talked about when it pulled into the 21 EMA over here. And now it has broken out of this bull flag we were pointing out. It looks like into end of week, we're probably going to get over 433. If you just look back what happened on these last few breakouts, that's a 24% move into end of week. All right, this over here, you broke out this week. That's a 20% move into end of week. This one over here is a 15% move into end of week. So we haven't broken out above 1433 yet, but it looks like we're going to do it. And the minimum move we're looking for is really 15%. That brings you to $5. I think you go $5 by the end of this week, guys. Hive could actually be a big one over here on shorter dated options. Okay. But I'm really liking this. Above 414, we have 433, above 433, 457, then $5. I think at the end of week, we could very well do it. Let's run it. AVGO, I like what's going on over here. If we can get above 341.05, I think this thing does push up to 350 plus pretty quick. Okay. Oracle, I'm seeing flow come back into the stock over here. And yeah, perfect day to do it. Bullish engulfing candlestick. This thing might be getting a nice move tomorrow. Keep it on the radar. I like how the daily and the 4 hour are coming together over here. You're consolidating around the 21 EMA. Cloud is not flipped yet. And yeah, through 291.75, I think this might get back up to 300 pretty quick. But we're seeing 295 and 300C come in today. Okay. I think actually they were the 1121. So, you know, there's that. But it could take its time, but I don't think it's going to take its time. AMD, guys, we talked about it. It's compressing over here around the moving averages. We think a big snapback is going to be coming over 164.50. It's right there. You actually got above there in the after hour session there. So you're probably going to get a little gap up tomorrow. Either way, above here, 171, above 171. Aha, back to highs we go, 187. Okay, JD got the breakout above 36.06 today. Next stop, 37.84 in the 40 bucks. I'm really liking how JD's weekly chart is coming along over here. And daily doesn't look all too bad at all. Okay, this is a little bullish, ascending, a little wedge over there. Okay, there you go. MP, I think what's going on off of the golden pocket there, the 0.786. If we can get back through this area, back through the moving averages, back above 70 bucks. I think this might start just pushing right back up to all-time highs here. And, yeah, the next move, like, this is not the move, okay? Like, you could trade it up to highs, but I think this thing is going to have a big breakout move. I'm not saying that high. Maybe like 90-something bucks. That's MP. Carvana. This looks like it wants to get back up to all-time highs there. And honestly, you better just hope it does some shit like that and it just goes decently past it all in one day, okay? That can happen, okay? Where you just catch this big boy move by surprise, okay? You're in the right spot, the right times, good things tend to happen. That's how that goes, okay? I think it might pull back, but I just want to point out, I love this consolidation that's going on here on the daily time frame. You lost the 21, you found the 21. It reminds me of this right over here, and you might be about to do what you did over here where you broke above that range high. And in the short term, it might hit the jets. Okay, and over here, it looks like you gapped up slightly over there. Went 381.78, but then at a high, 396.96, guys. That's a 15-point move. I'm not saying that happens tomorrow, but if we do get it, okay, like 15 points brings you up to highs, and I imagine you're going to break that, so you might get an explosive move, okay? Carvana, an outsized mover might be coming over the coming sessions. You. Pull back to the 21 EMA, guys. We've been talking about this for a while. We talked about it over here. We pounded the table on it, and this thing looks like it's just consolidating again, just like it was over here, reverting back to the mean. It might be not too long before this thing is pushing back up the highs. If it's going to trade how it did last time, you're going to push up the highs, you're going to pull back, you're going to go like that, and then you're going to do a whole bunch of this action. All right, just like that. You grind like that, okay? It's down. Right off the 21 EMA for multiple sessions. I like that. All right. I don't like last week's, candle here, but I'm seeing if they could push this into end of week. Okay. Above 17, they might get this thing back up to 19 bucks pretty quick. Okay. So just put it on your radar. Like I said, the ones I really like, those are at the front of this. Okay. At the start, I really like QS in the short term. I like RR and for shares. You can trade options on them too, but that's my preference there. QS, UNH, INTC, CRWV, PLTR, Hive. And that's what I'm going to leave my little list at. Nvidia in the short term as well. But yeah, open over here, guys. Looks like it is getting ready to go. But ultimately, you're just going to have to wait for it to take out 921. Above 921, pushes 1055. Above there, 1344. Oklo. I like how this is basing out right around the 21 EMA over here. Yeah, give it some time to load. I upgrade my internet and somehow it still gives me the same problems. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? It took me like 2 hours. It took me like an hour and a half trying to do it myself and then 40 minutes on the phone with some guy trying to set this thing up. And what the heck? It works now, but still same problem I was having before. It is what it is. Either way, guys, it's clean. The chart speaks for itself, okay? I know people want to short this thing. It's the same thing like Amazon, or not Amazon, Google over there. Oh, it's a high flyer. It's so extended. It's got to pull back. No, these aren't the things you want to be shorting, okay? You can. There's people who do that, but, I'm just going to say you're going to have a better time just shorting the thing with weakness. Amazon has been consistently falling over here. It broke down. All right, like this is what you could be short, and it continuously gets the bounces sold. Oklo is reverting back to the mean. It's above the moving averages, and for a whole 5 sessions now, okay? We all knew that, at some point it reverts back to the mean, it gets the pullback, and it's likely going to push back to a new high. Now, how long that takes, that's anyone's guess. I don't know. Over here, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th week you start bouncing back. Like that's like consolidating for another 2 weeks here. That would be crazy. And then mid-October we start going. So I don't know exactly how it's going to shape up, but I do think it's going to be popping back up to new highs over the coming weeks. Dell is one we talked about yesterday, guys. It exploded again today. So yeah, congrats.
That looks easy.
If anybody made money off of Dell, I know, one of you guys did. I know you left a comment earlier. But yeah, this is it's absolutely phenomenal over here. It looks like this thing's head back up to all-time highs. You keep it on your radar over the coming months here. It looks like it's going to be going through this process here of getting back up to all-time highs. Okay, so there's that. And the last one, I think this is going to be a banger into end of week. IBM. Okay, IBM above 288.85, all-time highs 296.16 incoming. This thing could get some massive freaking moves going. I think this thing might get a big move going into end of week, considering you're still underneath this high over here, and it's probably going to take it out. All right, and it's probably going to at least go, 4 to 5 points above that high. We're talking 290 plus. Current price is 286. Okay. I don't know exactly how it's going to go here, but I'll tell you, you take out this high, it's no different than when you're taking out all of these other range highs. Okay, you have this one right there, you have this one right there. That's what creates your impulsive move. You take the measured move of your range. It's almost 9 points there. All-time highs might be incoming this flip-flopping week, guys. Maybe next week if it's not this week, but yeah, it looks imminent. So we talked about it down here. All you had to do is break 266.6. I know it sounded crazy. I said we very well could be at new highs within a couple weeks. Guys, it's 1, 2, 3 weeks later, and we might be actually pushing new highs. Crazy stuff. Crazy. Outrageous stuff. Honorable mention. MU, actually before we go into MU, I'm just going to point out better. Everybody was hyped about this over here, right? Well, now it's reverted back to its mean. I just thought I'd point this out. This is a hot name over here. The guy who's pumping open, he announced that this is another like 10 bagger stock or 100 bagger stock or whatever. Now it's pulled back. That's better. Okay. Honorable mention, MU. Just hit the freaking jets. It pushed up, guys. It pushed up, broke 170.45. It went straight to 180. This thing might honestly be going to $200. That's MU. All right. TM. I forgot to mention this guy over here. TM looks like this thing might get going into end of week. We'll see if it, can get above here by end of week. But, really, yeah, it looks like it's going up there regardless. Whether that happens this week or next week, we're going to be watching for that move, and we're going to be looking to take advantage of it. Okay. I hope some of you guys, you got to make some money over here. It was a bit of a troll there. Don't worry. Okay. There is a larger move happening over here on TEM. And if we can get back up here, it tells us it's happening right now. At that point, all right, I don't know. This thing, it's probably going 120 plus before its next like decent pullback there. Just my opinion. Okay. But yeah, MU, guys, it's performing like that. Let me show you a chart that I think looks pretty similar to it, that didn't get all that necessarily of a big move yet. That's TSM. Okay, just broke above 286 over here. I do think 290 plus can come in the short term, and potentially 295 to 300. That's what I more than likely think is coming. I think we get another couple percents into end of week here, personally. So that's that. But yeah, that's that good. Look at that. Look at how far we've came. We've been tracking this thing since over here. We've been tracking MU. All right. Who remembers MU? I wish I held for this whole move. I wish. Took it off somewhere over here, okay? But then it went to go straight to all-time highs. Craziness. Outrageous. Where'd we put it on your radar? Here and on this candle right here. What happened? Almost 50% higher. All right. You want to know the next stock that I'm going to say is going to be doing that action? It's over here. 50% higher. Yeah, that's 40% higher. It's going. All right. But yeah, top watch into tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, Friday, I'm thinking 191 to 194 is incoming if we can get over 185.75. If you see 187 trade, that's what I'm going to say. You're far enough above 185.75. Like that move is probably happening that session. 191 to 194. 190C is going for $1. All right. I picked them up at 112 and then also just a bit over 120. Yeah, they're going for $1. So if you do get that pullback tomorrow, you could scoop them up real cheap over there for lottos. I personally also, I got swings going over here. This is I've been pounding the table. This is a no-brainer, okay? Nvidia is a no-brainer. CRWV is a no-brainer. PLTR is definitely a no-brainer over there, okay? They're all going to be getting their moves, but I think PLTR this is the one that's just screaming at me clear as day. It's right around the corner here. We have that move loading or that move. And maybe it does some crazy shit into end of week like that and goes 7%. who knows? Okay, who knows? But that's almost 200 bucks. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really do. Please remember, if you do, just please remember to leave a like. There are so many returning viewers here, and we don't get nearly as much likes. We get 300 to 400 likes. I appreciate you guys. Yesterday we did 450. Can we shoot for 500 today, guys? Can we? Question mark. I really would appreciate it. I really would. It genuinely warms my heart. I know it's a good video if there's a lot of likes, okay? And the YouTube algo also know it's a good video if there's a lot of likes and comments. Feel free, guys. But yeah, if you want to come trade with me, I trade all these tickers over here. I'm live every single day, and that link is down below. And with that being said, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of your day, and peace.